All right, what is up, party people? My name is Daryl, and yes, today we are going to compare the Divi theme versus Elementor. Now, these are probably the top two most popular page builders for WordPress. So in this video, I'm going to give you the pros and the cons of both page builders. Then we'll kind of compare and contrast each page builder with each other in its strengths and weaknesses. Now, what we're first going to do is we're going to compare the Divi theme. We're going to talk about 7 positive great things about Divi. And then we're going to go ahead and talk about Elementor, and we're going to talk about 7 great features that are amazing with these two page builders. Now, if you don't know, these two top page builders are the most popular page builders, I think, in the world right now. Elementor has a little over 1 million active installs, and Divi does as well. So we're first going to go ahead and talk about the pros of Divi, and then we'll talk about the pros of Elementor, and then we'll talk about the cons of both page builders. So first off, the first great thing about Divi is that it is the most popular page builder, and it is one of the easiest page builders to use out there. So this is just a quick Divi statistic right here. We have over 1.1 million active installs using Divi. So first, we talked about the page builder being easy to use. Now, the reason why I like elegant themes in Divi is because I feel that the editing experience on Divi is just a little bit more visual and user-friendly than Elementor. So for instance, right here, you want to go ahead and drag and drop something. You can go ahead and do that. And then if you want to switch this right here, you can go ahead and take this, and everything's visual, everything's drag and drop. Now, when we compare this to Elementor, Elementor doesn't have the padding feature right here as Divi does. Now, let's go ahead and take a quick look at Elementor. So right here we have the Elementor page builder, and when I try to drag and drop something, sometimes I just feel I don't have that that visual drag and drop experience that Divi does. So for instance, right here, if I want to go ahead and take this whole thing right here and place it somewhere, I'm just kind of given this this broken down kind of structure. I just don't feel the ultimate drag and drop experience as I do with elegant themes or Divi. Now, both page builders are drag and drop, but they both work a little differently. So even though this is not like a 100% drag and drop visual, it's still ultimately a great page builder. But that was one thing I pointed out with Elementor and Divi, that I just feel that the Divi theme just has a little bit more of a visual drag and drop experience than Elementor. Now, second off, we're going to go ahead and talk about the price. So the price with Divi is also very competitive. So for $89, you receive the Divi theme, you receive Extra, you receive Bloom, and the Monarch plugin. Now, this is an $89 per year, but you can also do the lifetime access, which is $249, and that's a one-time payment. Now, the reason why this kind of differs from Elementor is that Elementor does not have a lifetime access. So if you do decide to use the Elementor Pro version, you're going to have to pay, I think it's, we'll talk more about the pricing with Elementor in just a bit, but you're going to have to pay that pricing every single year. There is no lifetime access, making it a very expensive option. Divi, on the other hand, is just a little bit more cheaper when you compare the price, and you also get a little bit more, such as the Bloom plugin. And the Bloom plugin is like one of the most popular plugins out there. I use it, everyone uses it. It's on tons of blogs. It doesn't matter what theme you're using. The Bloom plugin is by far one of the most amazing email opt-ins. Another reason is Divi has a huge third-party marketplace. I mean, they have Divi Cake, Elegant Marketplace. They have all these other companies out there developing third-party plugins, third-party child themes, and there's just a lot of resources that you get with Divi. So this is divicake.com, and again, they have tons of layouts. They have tons of child themes. I do like the child themes because the child themes are like more of a modified version of Divi, and they go a little bit more. So developers kind of like to develop something and then kind of release it. So with the child themes, you do get a little bit more customization than just the average layouts. And of course, they have third-party plugins, etc. So there are just tons of features that you get, or tons of third-party plugins and marketplaces that are with the Divi theme. And this is another one, Elegant Marketplace. You can just go ahead and check out some of their Divi child themes and Divi layouts. Tons of plugins. They have quite a bit. Next is Divi has one of the best supports out there. So the Divi theme they have actually introduced a live support. So let's say, for instance, that your site's not working correctly and it's just not there yet and you're kind of frustrated. You can actually go to their tech support and get live help, and you can actually get a live chat operator to help you with your WordPress website. In addition, they still have their community forum. So right here, this is their community forum. And let's say, for instance, you want to ask a question about the Divi theme. Now with elegant themes, you get that live support, and you also get the forum. So you can go ahead and kind of browse around to see if people are having, certain problems, the same problems, or maybe you can just go ahead and solve something, saying, something's not working, how do I fix it? You can just go ahead and search the forum right there. So in that regard, you do get a lot of great support with elegant themes. I've personally used it, and I have to say there's nothing but positive things about their support. Next is you get tons of layouts with the Divi theme, and I am so surprised Elegant Themes has released 2 times layouts a week. I don't even know how they do it. I mean, that is a lot of work to release 2 layouts a week. Now, the reason why I love these layout packs, the reason why I love them is because they actually have like the 5 to 8 page templates. They are not those 1 page templates. How many times have you been like saying, oh, here's a layout, and then it's only 1 page? 1 page themes or layouts are useless because you have to design more layouts around the initial design, which can be very tricky, right? But Elegant Themes knows this, and they have actually introduced, like for instance, this set right here, the LMS landing page. They have the about, the contact, the course, the home, the landing, the marketing, pricing, all in one. So if your client wants something like an LMS platform, you can just go ahead and use this layout and apply it for your website, making it really fast and easy. And they have tons of them, and they have very good designers over there. So this is another one, the web agency. And instead of actually building everything from scratch, you can just go ahead and use these right here. And they also have stock images for free that they make that they will give you for free. So in that aspect, when I see a company do this, it really means a lot to me. It's like, well, they're making their own photographs. They're making 2 layouts every single week for their clients. It goes a long way. And honestly, creating 2 layouts a week is probably one of the hardest things to do out there. Next is their features that they add. So by default, Divi has just tons of features. They have A/B split testing. They have search, find and replace. They have a lot of on-page features that a lot of other page builders do not have yet. So for instance, right here, they have one called find and replace, which I thought was just, the extended styles, which I thought was just an amazing feature. And a lot of these features they add will really speed up the process of making a website. So for instance, right here, let's first we'll talk about their extend style. So first right here, I want to take this same format and extend it onto every single blurb on the page. Now, Elementor does not have this feature. In fact, Elementor does not have a lot of features on the on-page features that Divi does have. So for instance, right here, I want to take this blurb and extend it to the entire row right here. So what it's going to do is it's going to take all of that format and apply it to every single style on that row or on the entire page. Now, they also have a really cool thing with the CSS command. So it's like they're kind of inviting people to learn how to use CSS. They've actually taken the entire library of CSS and embedded it into their theme, making it an ultimately easier experience to add CSS. But with all the commands they're offering, like shadow, text shadow, center line, all of the features they've added into it, CSS is not really needed that much anymore because they've added so many extra features to make it a very faster, web design experience. So when I saw these features on Divi, I just thought it was amazing. They just added one today. I think it was called, I don't know, I forgot. It was the hover options. There we go, the hover options. That came out today, and that's basically where you hover over something. It'll create certain animations depending on, it's basically a lot of CSS they just, fixed and they've actually placed inside the theme, making it a very simple interface to use. So if you guys want to vote on which child theme or which thing you like the best, which Divi or Elementor, make sure to check out my blog after this. I will be making a blog post about this, talking about each one in comparison. So now that I've talked about Divi, let's go and talk about Elementor. So Elementor, again, is a free page builder, but in this video, we're going to be talking more about the pro version of Elementor. Now, one thing I loved about Elementor is that it's also a very simple interface to work with. Now, personally, I think that Divi is just a little bit more easier, a little bit more fluid than Elementor, but it's still ultimately a drag and drop page builder and it's very easy. So for instance, right here, I want to go ahead and add a section right here. We can click on plus, add 3 right here, and simply just go ahead and pick in something. We'll take in this text editor right there. And then right here, we can go ahead and add in another one, and then we can maybe just place it right there. And then you get the point. It's drag and drop. It's very simple to use. Now they do have the right click feature as well. So both page builders do have the right click feature. So for instance, right here, we can just click on right click and duplicate it, and that'll duplicate the entire section. So I've taught complete beginners, Divi and also Elementor. And I find that both people are happy with it. I have a lot of people who watch my Divi tutorials who are really happy with the Divi theme. And then I have people who use the Elementor page builder and they're saying, I love this page builder and they want to use that. That's fine. Right now, it's kind of all about preference and what you really like, as your style of building. So the page builder itself is very intuitive, very simple to learn. Another great feature about Elementor is they have more elements than Divi. So Divi by default only has around 39 elements. The Elementor Pro version has, I believe it's around 68. So ultimately they have way more modules than Divi. So right here, like this is part of their Pro version. They have animated headline, Divi does not have that. They have all these other ones like WooCommerce. I'll talk more about WooCommerce in just a bit, but they also have like post comments, blog quotes, and just all these other modules that, again, Divi doesn't have. So Elementor does have way more modules than Divi. I think, again, 68 versus 38 or 39. So in that regard, Elementor Pro is ahead as far as modules. Next, or I don't know if you call them Pro or Elements, or modules or elements. I don't know. I think Divi calls them modules. I think Elementor calls them elements. So it's really whatever you want to call them. Next, right here, we have the card skin. So Elementor has a beautiful blog. I mean, they have one of the most nicest blogging platforms out there. And they actually have a thing called card skin. And it basically allows you to change your blog style. So here you can kind of see an example of it. And you can go ahead and change the badge color. You can change like the image. You can change anything right there. And you can kind of see how it looks like there. So you can add the image. You can make the image bigger. You have a little bit more customization with Elementor than Divi. In fact, you have a lot more customization with Elementor than Divi in regards to their blogging platform. So I think the blogging platform from Elementor does beat Divi in that regard, because you can customize it, you can change things, and it just looks a little bit more better than Divi's default blog module. Next, we have the WooCommerce Builder, and this right here will allow you to decorate the products for your WooCommerce store. Now, Divi, on the other hand, Divi has just the basic WooCommerce Builder, and you can edit some of the products, such as the archive pages and products with Divi. However, you do need a plugin. By default, Elementor Pro can actually do this for free, and I just find the editing experience with Elementor Pro a little bit more easier, because I have used their plugin for Divi, and I just feel that the Elementor Pro version for the WooCommerce Builder, it's just way more smoother. It's smoother, it's easier, and I just find that the WooCommerce Builder is a great feature that Elementor Pro introduced. Next is their theme builder. And again, this will allow you to add certain headers and footers on various pages, such as WooCommerce. You can add in your 404. You can have different headers and footers for various pages. Divi, on the other hand, does not have this feature. So if you want that feature, if you want that customization where you can go ahead and add different footers and headers to certain pages, you can do that with the Elementor Pro version. I think, no, yeah, it is in their Pro version. So right here, you can kind of get an idea of it. It just allows you to, again, you can have certain conditions, or you want certain headers and footers on different parts. They have a whole tutorial on this right here. So if you want to learn more about it, you can visit the Elementor Pro website. The links are in the description below, so be sure to check that out. Another great feature is their single and archive page builder, or their archive builder. Now, by default, a lot of themes and use themes, you can't decorate the archive, such as like the archive pages for certain posts or certain products, such as WooCommerce. With Elementor Pro, yes, you can. Now, I believe Divi does not have this feature yet, but you can install a plugin that will allow you to do that. But by default, Elementor Pro has this feature inside of it. So if you want to go ahead and design your archive pages, such as your product or your single post, you can do that with Elementor Pro. And I really commend the guys over there at Elementor for doing this, because they just introduced a lot of groundbreaking features that a lot of themes in the past just kind of thought would never work. Like, oh, that's too much work, blah, blah, blah. But Elementor, on the other hand, has really shown a lot of dedication and introduced these features. So again, the single and archive page builder is a great feature they introduced. Now, I want to talk about two other good things about Elementor. First, now, in comparison with Divi, I do believe that Elementor Pro, or Elementor in general, is a faster page builder than Divi. I feel that the Elementor page builder is just a little bit more, I do like the visual experience from Divi, but I think that overall the speed of Elementor is great. It's a very fast page builder. But this last feature, I really like their third-party integration. Now, the third-party integration is just the smoothest, cleanest process. So for instance, right here, these elements right here are not Elementor Pro. They are a third-party company. Now, if I want to go ahead and just simply drag something in right there, such as this animated box, it works visually it works the same way as their other elements. It's very fast, it's easy, and it integrates really well. So this right here, it just integrates just like the actual Elementor. Now, Divi's, we'll talk more about the cons, but Divi, when they have third-party plugins, they don't integrate as well with Elementor's. So in that regard, I think Elementor Pro is ahead right there with their third-party integrations with their plugins. So again, right here, like their animated text, I'll just grab it right here. We'll just place this right here, and then there you go. You have some animated text. Now, Divi does have all these features, but unfortunately, you have to install a plugin This right here is actually an add-on from CrocoBlocks. The link is in the description below. It's a great third-party company for the Elementor page builder. I highly recommend it. I did a review on them, and they have like over like 50 demos or something for Elementor, so it's a great experience. So those are some of the pros that I saw with both page builders. Both page builders are great. I think I've used both, you know, and I've taught both. So in that regard, you know, I think that both page builders they're up there. They do have their pros and cons. You know, Elementor, it does have more customization. Divi, on the other hand, it does have, you know, that great visual experience. So it just really depends on preference at this point. But personally, I do like to use Divi theme. I think it's great. Now, if I was using a blogging platform or WooCommerce, I might want to use Elementor over here because I might have just a little bit more customization, unless I was purchasing a Divi child theme for the Divi theme for like WooCommerce or something like that. So now that I've talked about the pros of both page builders, let's go ahead and talk about the cons of both page builders. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and talk about some of the cons with both of these page builders. Now, before we go on, you know, don't take anything personal. You know, I bet you people are gonna watch this and be like, well, I kind of like that better. I'm just giving you examples of some cons because I know a lot of people are very touchy about page builders, kind of like politics. So I get it, you know. But again, both page builders I still recommend. I still like both page builders, so I'm just letting everyone know that before we go ahead and talk about this. All right, so first let's talk about the cons of the Divi theme. Now, one of the cons is that there are a lot of reports about the visual builder just getting really glitchy. Now, I'm sure if you use the Divi theme for a long time and you build a very big website with it, you might notice sometimes the visual builder by default just gets really glitchy. Sometimes it doesn't open, sometimes it doesn't close, sometimes it doesn't make the changes, or sometimes it just might be slow and it doesn't work properly. I myself have had this problem before, and I have seen people in the groups talk about it. It does happen on some websites. I have worked on some clients' websites where I just felt they was just kind of slow and glitchy. So I did see that, and that was, you know, a con that I saw with the Divi theme. Next is that there are some reports about the Divi theme sites breaking after updates. So people have actually, you know, added a lot of CSS or something to their theme, and then when they actually update it, some of these sites break. Now, they couldn't just resolve this by just making a Divi child theme, but I have seen people in the Facebook group saying that a lot of sites have been breaking regardless, saying, hey, I updated my theme, and when I updated it, the site completely broke and shattered, which really sucks. So there has been reports about some Divi theme sites breaking upon updates, so that's something to look out for. You always want to make a child theme, you know, just go ahead and make a child theme, you know, make your life easier. Next is that you cannot edit the archive pages, or you cannot edit the, you know, the WooCommerce archive pages as well. Now, Elementor, on the other hand, does have those features. So Elementor does just all around have more features. They have the theme builder, they have the archive builder, and with Divi, you don't have those. So you don't have an archive builder, and you can't, you know, decorate like the archive for the posts or the archive for the WooCommerce products, which can be a problem depending on what you're trying to do with your website. There are plugins for it, but I just feel that the plugins are just not as good as when the developer does it themselves. Now, there has been some features about Divi theme talking about introducing these features, but we just are still not there yet. Next is that Divi or Elementor just has more features than WooCommerce. So again, like I talked about, Elementor has the theme builder, WooCommerce builder. They can you can decorate the archive pages, the theme builder, all these features of Elementor, and Divi just isn't there yet. Now, this was created right here on May 3rd, and we are in September, and we still don't have these updates yet. So Elegant Themes has gone out and said that they are creating dynamic content. They are creating a WooCommerce builder, but as of right now, making this video, Elementor has more features than Divi, and Divi just doesn't have these features yet. So we should be on the lookout. Maybe Divi will be introducing these features, but as of right now, Elementor does have more features such as dynamic content, theme builder, archive builder, product builder, etc. Next is that I find the plugins for Divi are not as good as Elementor. Now, this is a plugin, for example, for Divi, and it's called the Widget Injector. But these plugins just don't integrate as well. They don't integrate nearly all as well as Elementor. So when I use this plugin right here, this is actually one of the only plugins you can use to decorate the WooCommerce product pages, except for Divi Kingdom. However, you have to decorate everything from the back end, and it's just very glitchy. And I just find that a lot of these plugins, not this person in particular, I'm not like picking on this guy, but I'm just saying in particular, all the plugins I've used for Divi in the past, I just really find they don't integrate nearly as well with the Elementor page builder. Another big problem is that Divi leaves shortcode, but is this even really a problem? Now, a lot of people complain saying that when they deactivate Divi, I think they use the term littered with shortcodes. Now, let's be honest, when you use any theme and you deactivate it, you're going to get shortcodes, but is shortcodes really even a problem? You just simply delete the little shortcode and there you go. Now, today, when you switch from any theme to any page builder, you're basically forfeiting your website and you have to create everything from scratch again. If you go to Divi to Elementor, you got to make it from scratch, right? If you go to Divi or Elementor to Divi, you got to go from scratch. If you go from Divi to FlatSum, you have to build it from scratch. So when I see that argument, I just think they're also kind of picking on Divi, just kind of trying to say like, oh yeah, well this, Contact Form 7 uses shortcodes. Visual Composer uses shortcodes. Every single plugin, Lifter LMS, everything uses shortcodes. So I just find that argument really weak. And I just think that even though people address it saying it's a big problem with Divi, I really don't think it's a problem at all. So, but that is something that's been noted, saying that, there has been leaving shortcode, you deactivate it. So I have to address it, saying that is an issue to some people. But if you don't care about it, it's not that big of a deal. I really don't care. But that is what happens if you deactivate the Divi theme. So now I've talked about the cons of Divi theme. Let's go ahead and move on to the cons of Elementor Pro. Now, one of the biggest ones, and when I see this in Facebook groups, it's almost like Elementor is trying to censor this, but Elementor Pro is not GPL. Now, this is a very big problem for developers, and this can make half the people just walk away from Elementor Pro saying then we're not using it. So Elementor Pro is not GPL, which means you have no access to the source code. So if you're a developer or you're an agency, you might not want to use Elementor Pro because you can't make further custom modifications to it. So for instance, right here, people are kind of upset about it, saying, this is anti-software freedom because they can't edit it. Divi, on the other hand, you can edit it. That's why we have child themes. But Elementor Pro, on the other hand, is not a GPL. So if you're an agency or developer and you want to make further modifications to Elementor, you're pretty much out of luck and you might as well go to another page builder. However, let me step back here and say that Elementor, the free version, is GPL. So if you want to go ahead and modify that, distribute it, do whatever you want with it, you are more than welcome to do that with. But I just have seen a lot of people complain about it, saying they're calling Elementor Pro anti-freedom software because, WordPress is all about like freedom of, redistributing, re-editing for developers and web agencies to, accommodate their clients. But you're not going to get that with Elementor Pro. So I just saw that and I thought that was one of the big problems. Next is their supports. Elementor is a growing company. They're a growing company and they just can't handle the user base. So I decided to use their support, and it turns out that on the post category pages for Elementor, there is no option to set the number of posts. So you get like 50 posts on one page. So it's a bug or it's a glitch, or I don't know what you want to call it, but they need to fix it eventually. I saw some people talk about it. I think some of the people from Elementor did discuss it. So it will be fixed eventually. But right here, you can see that we're talking on the 15th. And I'm talking about it's not going right. And I mean, we're going back all the way. We're just going back and forth, all the way to the end of like the 25th right here. And the 25th, it's still not done. And if I had a client and the site really did break and I really had a problem, am I really going to rely on the support from Elementor? Probably not, because right here from the 25th to the 15th, we spent 10 days going back and forth and nothing was done. So I have to say that the support for Elementor is virtually useless. In fact, I see a lot of people just saying, go to their Facebook group and make a post. And I'm thinking it's not the people's job in the Facebook group to do this. It's Elementor's job. So in that regard, I just think the support is a little lacking. They might want to hire some more support agents because they are a very growing company. So in that regard, I just feel the support from Elementor is really not that good. Next, their pricing is not that good either. So their pricing right here is, well, I'll step back. I'll give a pro and a con about their pricing. But right here, their unlimited version is $199 just for the plugin. So you don't get Bloom, you don't get Monarch, you don't get Extra. Now, again, that this is for the year. So remember, you're paying $199 every single year. I mean, they do have a renewal discount, so we do have to take that into consideration. But the problem is they have no lifetime fee. So in the long term, you're going to pay a lot more for Elementor than you would with Divi, on the other hand. Now, personally, do I really think that's expensive? Me, I think both companies should charge more. I think that Divi for $249, I mean, the amount of development technology that goes into these page builders takes years to develop. I personally think it's worth $1,000, you know, to create this. I think Divi and Elementor should both charge $1,000 for the page builder, because the amount of technology and everything that's gone into the page builders is amazing. You know, Divi has just created some of the most amazing features. Elementor has just some of the amazing features as well. So I really don't think the price is bad for anyone, but for the average consumer we're talking about, it can be very expensive for people who decide to use Elementor Pro. Next is, there is no backend builder for Elementor. So there's been a lot of talk about developers just walking away from Elementor Pro and Elementor, saying this page builder is for kids. It's for beginners. You know, I don't want to use it. It has no backend builder. It's not GPL. Like, what are you, stupid? You know, that's what I've heard from people who talk about Elementor. Personally, I don't think it's that big of a problem. You know, I think that most page builders today use just a front end, and we don't really want to use a backend, but there are a ton of developers who still use backend builders. So right there, people are just going to start walking away from Elementor Pro, saying this page builder is just for complete beginners, which it is true. You know, I think both page builders are designed for complete beginners, but that's the whole purpose of front end editing, right? It's designed for beginners, drag and drop. So Divi, on the other hand, does have a front end and back end, so it is a little bit more customizable, so you can kind of see what you're doing. But Elementor Pro only has the front end, so in that regard, it's lacking a backend builder, which a lot of developers like to use. Next, we're going to go ahead and talk about the white screen of death. So Elementor Pro is known for having that white screen of death, where you go ahead and activate the builder, and then you just get a white screen. Now, it just really depends on the server here. I'm not really blaming Elementor Pro here. I'm going to say it's probably the servers. You're probably using crappy hosting. You're probably using iPage, but you know, that's just how it goes. So there has been a lot of talk about people saying even with PHP 7 and above, and they've increased the memory limits, they're still getting the white screen of death. So I think the Elementor Pro version might just be funny with some hosting companies. I've had the white screen of death maybe once or twice, but after I kind of made some configurations and fixed stuff and kind of messed around with the settings, it worked. But there has been a large amount of people, I've seen the Facebook groups talking about how the white screen of death ruins their life. But again, I think it's probably just due to crappy hosting. And, you know, we have so many hosting companies out there with like free hosting. We have iPage and all these other companies. If you're using iPage, I really recommend a switch. I actually ran a web hosting competition, and iPage was the last place. So if you want to know what the best web hosting is, I will be making a video in the description below. Be sure to check it out. I think the top 3 was Name Hero, SiteGround, and Green Geeks. Name Hero came out of nowhere, really surprised. Anyway, so yeah, there is a white screen of death, which is known to be a big common problem. And another thing that I did not like about Elementor Pro, now this is just personal preference, is the fact that they offer those one-page templates. And me personally, guys, you know me by now, I cannot stand one-page templates. I look at one-page templates and I cringe, because Divi, on the other hand, offers the 5 to 9 page layouts for their clients. So you have to just worry about just uploading, you know, you don't have to worry about one, you know, with Elementor. You get what I'm saying? So with Divi, on the other hand, you get the full package. You get the home, the about, the service, the contact, the blog, the marketing page, whatever. And with Elementor, on the other hand, you get one page. Now, I've always called one-page templates useless because, you know, if you decide to use this right here, you're going to have to build a whole site around it. And it's very hard for you to get in the mind of a designer and, you know, build around their design. And then a lot of these are Photoshop. So you're going to have to kind of use their designs and, you know, maybe make Photoshops based off their designs. So a lot of these one-page templates that they created, to me, are virtually useless. Now, that's just my personal preference. I have never liked one-page templates, but they do have some 5 to 6 page templates. Let's go ahead and check it out. I mean, they have like about right here, but they're not like, you know, they're not a complete package. They're about as pages, but they're not like, they don't carry the same design aspect as the other ones. Except for a few. They do have some they started to introduce, so we have to give them credit for that. Let's see where we go here. Let's see here. They did have some. Like right here. See right here they have like the home, the about, the services. So, you know, they got maybe 1 or 2, or you know, they have another one somewhere. So, but I get it. They're trying to help their customers. They're trying to give them ideas and inspiration. I totally get it. But me personally, I don't like the one-page templates. I feel that Elegant Themes offers way better templates, and they have way better design. I don't want to say better designers. I do like some of these designs. I think they're nice and creative, but I just think that Elegant Themes offers like the 5 to 6 page templates, and, you know, Elementor only offers 1. Now, there was one last thing that I still not sure about, and that's talking about the no hosting with Elementor Pro. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I have some people complain about it. Now, personally, I'm not too sure what the no hosting terms and condition is. So if you want to let me know in the comments below what that means with Elementor Pro, I would like to know, because people were saying that this was like a big con for agencies, and myself, I'm not understanding the no hosting with Elementor Pro. I'm just not getting that. So if you want to let me know in the comments what that is talking about, I would love it. But I have seen that pop up in some conversations, and people were just really upset about it, and I still didn't get it. I was like, wait, I just don't get it yet. So those are some of the cons of both page builders. Now, that said, I still want to go ahead and give a big shout out to both companies. Both companies, I mean, these are the best two page builders. Divi theme is the best theme. It has the most active installs. Elementor came out of nowhere, and it's one of the best free page builders, or best page builder. We're talking about the pro version here. Now, I'm really glad Elementor came out, because without Elementor, we would be stuck using Visual Composer still, you know? We would still be using that page builder. And I know I've seen in the comments, people are like, anything but Visual Composer. It's like, that's like a Twilight Zone episode. But Elementor now came out, so it's kind of slowly making its way on envato market, kind of phasing out Visual Composer, which I hope they do. Or even Brizzy. Brizzy is a new page builder, which I hope will actually phase out the competition, because this page builder is much better than Visual Composer. And Divi, you know, they're releasing constant features. They're making their page builder very intuitive and easy to learn. So I really commend both page builders. Divi is a great one. You know, Elegant Themes, you know, they've done their job with, you know, making some of the best plugins and themes. Now, if you were to ask me personally, which one would I use and what do I recommend? I'm going to say I would use the Divi theme for business websites. So if someone said I want a 5 to 6 page website, you know, very, very, very small functionality, I would use the Divi theme. Now, if I were making a blog, or if I were making a WooCommerce store, I would go with Elementor here, because I love the blogging skin with Elementor, and I love the WooCommerce abilities with Elementor as well. So in that regard, I would use blogging and WooCommerce for Elementor, and I would use the business website for Elegant Themes. Now, again, these themes are constantly developing. So as I'm making this video right now, that's my current recommendation and how I feel. But in the future, in the next 6 months, we're going to see a lot from these two. And competition is great, because these two page builders are going to keep improving themselves by battling it out. So shout out to both companies for actually improving WordPress and making it ultimately an easier creating experience. So that's my review. Let me know in the comments what you believe, you know, if I was right or wrong, if I was harsh, if I was not harsh. Let me know what you think about my personal preference with these two page builders. So again, my name is Daryl Wilson, and I will see you all later.